welcome back to my channel once again. My name is Yinka. If you're new to this channel, please kindly take a moment to subscribe if you have not subscribed, and to my old subscriber, you're all welcome back. So take the front seat, let's get into it. So today I'm excited about this topic because we are going to be making a busted dress with yoke, but the yoke is very interesting because it's going to be like a basket. Okay, so let's get into it. And I'm going to be using paper for the yoke. You need your bias, your fabric. So I'm going to be drafting this on my lining. Then when I'm done, I'm going to transfer this to my fabric. My lining is folded into two, and I'm just going to quickly draft a princess dart bustier. I'm going to measure all my vertical measurements. So from this my guideline, this your guideline is going to be your shoulder. So you measure down your armhole, the nipple point, the under bust, the waist length, half-inch seam allowance. Then you're going to just extend the lines. Okay, so I'm going to import the shoulder measurements divided by 2. My client's shoulder measurement is 16.5 divided by 2, that will be 8.25. I'm going to put the 8.25 here, and I'm going to roll it straight down to the chest line. Then I'm going to measure 3 inches here, and then 1 inch here, so that I can slant the shoulder. Then I'll add half-inch seam allowance. So the next thing I will do, I'll come to this chest line. I will input the bust circumference divided by 4. My client's bust circumference is 42 divided by 4. That will be 10.5. I'll put the 10.5 here. I'll come to the waistline. I'll put the waist circumference divided by 4. I have waist circumference of 33 divided by 4. That will be 8.25. And I'm going to put that right here. This way. Next thing I'm going to do now is to import the dart. So come to the nipple point line. I will import the nipple to nipple distance divided by 2. The nipple to nipple distance is 8 inches divided by 2. That will be 4. But because I'm drafting directly on my fabric, I'm going to add seam allowance of half inch to that. That will be 4.5. I'll put it here. I'll roll it straight down to the waistline. Then I'll come to the armhole. I'm going to locate the mid armhole, starting from the shoulder slope here. I'll measure down to the chest line, and I'll locate the mid armhole. Then I will connect it to the nipple point line. Don't forget, this is a front pattern, so from the mid armhole, come in by half inch and then blend it back to the shoulder tip. This way. Come to this side of the line. On the under bust line, at the under bust line, I'm going to take half inch dart towards this side, and at this other side, I'm going to take 2.5 inches dart. And I'm rolling it straight down to the waistline, then connecting it back to the nipple point line. Then I'll come to the mid armhole again. I'm going to measure 2 inches downward, and I'll connect from there to the nipple point line. And I'm going to extend this new line outside by 2 inches. Okay, then you can go ahead and finish the armhole cuff. 2 inches. Okay. So the next thing you do now is to replace your dart, and then you put your seam allowance. Then at the side seam here, I'm going to come up by 1 inch, and I'll connect it back to the dart leg this way. Don't forget to finish your armhole nicely. Using 4.5 for the neck width, and then the neck depth is going to be 4 inches. So I'm done cutting it out. You can see I've not removed the neckline yet. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use my hand to walk through. This is still the lining. So I'll just mash them together as the hemline here. This way. Just use your hand to mash them together this way. As if you are sewing it. Okay.
You can also use the longest stitch on your sewing machine to just stitch them together. If you think you're not going to get it using your hand like this, so you can actually stitch them
So
together before you
this is
proceed to
what
the
I have
next
here,
step.
and I'm just going
And
to
when you're
pin.
done, you can now loosen it back so that you can use this to cut the main fabric. Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to get the shape that I want for the yoke. Okay. The depth of your yoke depends on what you want. So I'm just going to be stopping the yoke on the chest line, and I'm going to get a nice sweetheart shape. Okay, so this is my yoke. I'm going to cut the yoke out now. Okay. And see, we still have some part of the side as part of the yoke here. So don't let it scatter. So you're going to just cut this on your paper, and you had your seam allowance of 0.7 at the base of this. Okay. I'm going to cut this on my paper, and I'll cut this on the Ankara fabric. So I'm going to add 0.75 allowance to this inner part. 0.75. So this is my yoke. So I added my seam allowance of 0.75 down part. If you like, you can do one, but I like using 0.75. Okay. And if I'm using net, assuming I'm using net for this yoke, I'm just going to add 0.5 inch seam allowance. Okay. So if you open your yoke, you have this. Now I'm going to cut this other two on my Ankara fabric, and I'm going to also fuse it with my interfacer. I'll draw the style line. I'm just going to make it 1 inches apart from each other, away from each other. I started by 1 inch here, so it's just going to be 1 inch away from each other. So this is it. Doing it like this. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'll do the other one, marking it across to make it have that basket effect. Don't forget it's still 1 inch. Okay, so this is what I've come up with. So I'm just going to go ahead now and I'm going to cut out what I'm going to be using as the base, This particular one, you can decide to just cut a strip, you fold half and bend like this, and you'll be sewing it on the line. But this particular one, it was designed with bias. It was designed with bias. So I'm going to be using bias along with a fabric strip. So I'll just cut a fabric strip that I'm going to be using. So this particular one is something like this, okay? So you fold the two raw edges inward and then again like this, okay? Then you place on it and you make your stitch. The width of this is 1.5 inch, 1.5 inches. So you fold the two raw edge together, like fold quarter and quarter, then you fold it again like this, and then you go ahead, you stitch on it. You can start to use only your ankara without attaching the bias, but from the style we are replicating, you first put the ankara before putting the bias, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So like I said, you are going to fold it like this to the wrong side. You fold quarter in and quarter at the other side, quarter, then you bend it over like this, like you just want to make a, a rope, something like that, okay? So you now place it on your paper, on your lines, and then you just stitch down on it, okay? Then I'll place my bias on top of it this way, and I'll also stitch, but this time around I'm stitching on the two sides. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please kindly take a moment to subscribe to support the channel, okay? Can you see I've done one side? So I'll continue like that till I finish the whole thing. Then place the bias right on top of it. Okay, so I'm done with this. The next thing now is to start crossing it. We already drew the line, so just follow your line and you continue sewing the strip and the bias.
So when you're doing this, you have to be careful so that the paper doesn't tear. So you have to be careful. You can see my paper tore here. So I'm trying to just hold it together. Please be careful so that your paper won't tear. Okay. So I'm done with the basket thing. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just to use the fabric, the main fabric to cut out bias that I'm going to be using to pipe the neckline. Okay, you can see this is how it is.
This is the back. You can see. So you just trim all this excess. Just trim it off. It's easy. You said it's easy. Oh. So I'm going to cut out bias that I'm going to be using to pipe the neckline. You know, when you are cutting bias, it's not going to be on a straight grain. Rather, it's going to be on a bias. So when you are cutting bias, you are not just going to cut it straight. You cut it in angle 45 degree. Using the same 1.5 inch. I'm going to be using this to pipe the neckline. Be using this to just pipe the neckline because the neckline is curved. So you are not supposed to use that straight line that we're using to create this. So you have to cut it on a bias, okay? You can either use bias to pipe it, but from the picture, they use this to pipe the neckline, okay? So you bring it to the good side and fold it this way and top stitch right on top of it. Okay, so I'm
So now
done.
that I'm done with the basket yoke, the next thing is just to join the bustier together. You know, when you're joining your bustier, make sure you start from the waistline. Okay, so just join it. Don't rush, just take your time and join with half-inch seam allowance. When you're done with one side, you also repeat the same thing to the second side. Join with half-inch seam allowance.
I'm going to
You
notch
will also repeat the
around
same
my cuff
step
now.
to the main fabric. Also, don't forget to notch and iron open your seam allowance. And after joining the panels together, if there's any irregularities like this, ensure to blend it.
They are not
You
always
know, they
something
are not
serious,
always
just
much,
a
maybe
little
just a
bit.
little tiny
Just
thing.
put it up.
Just blend it off.
So I'm going to attach bra cup to the lining part. Yes. Your bra cup should stop at your under bust and you match the nipple point together. Okay. But once you pin it, it's very, very easy and simple to sew. See it from the wrong side, maybe from the good side. Okay, so the next I'm going to do now is just to attach this to this. Okay, so first you notch the center of your V here, like about 1/4 inch. Place it on top. Place it on top.
So when you get to the center, keep your needle in and rotate the fabric to the other side, and you continue stitching to the other side.
Okay, so next is just to turn with my lining.
Keep your needle in, notch and rotate the fabric to the other side, and continue stitching.
Notch. Okay, so you bring it to the good side and you are done. Don't forget to iron, give it a good press. To do now is just for you to wet this with water and then you tear off the paper. Yeah. Putting water will make it easy to just tear off, you know. And you see how it is, how easy it is. Hey! Who's your guy? Your father.
So now that we're done with this upper bodice, you just go ahead and attach it to the skirt part. Okay, so that will be all for today's tutorial. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, please kindly subscribe. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
I like the way I contour the hip this time around.
Yes.
No budging on the zip.
Yeah.
No nothing. Just follow like this. It have.
Like the way you used to do corset.
Yes, exactly like I said. Thank you, Auntie Shalom.
I ain't get no pimples.
I ain't get no pimple.
I
Thank
get
you.
no pimples.